This is the segment that we call Ask the Consultant. And joining me now is the Senior Vice President and the Head of the Government Markets for Empower Retirement, Mr. Brent Neese. Brent, as always, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jeff, and thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to turn the tables and ask you questions.
It's not fun, I can tell you.
The number of states that have passed legislation to provide coverage, and there are a number of different plan designs and solutions, from the IRA marketplace to the multi-employer plan. It's going to be very interesting to watch this unfold. Is there a perspective in terms of the best way to provide coverage and the plan design elements that these states are going through at this point?
It's a great question. CMAC Retirement is really focused on learning more about what the policy initiatives are at the local level. And what we try to do with our clients in terms of consulting is to give all options. So we're happy to see, states, after all, the laboratory of democracy. That's where a lot of the best ideas come. They kind of bubble up, and then states kind of follow, and you know as well as anybody that states kind of follow each other. And we've seen this with the hybrid programs, the alternatives to defined benefit plans, et cetera. I don't think we have a perspective per se on which option is best, but I would say this: if a prospective client who is a state government is considering this, or we're testifying in the legislature, then we would raise all of these as potential opportunities, and also consider alternatives to that or hybrids of that. I think it's important when you're working with a client, regardless of what type they are, to really walk through the options. It's their plan, it's their idea, it's their set of citizens. They know what's best, and so they can look through that lens and consider the alternatives. But again, we had the federal government pass legislation at a very high level. The states have followed suit. There's a lot of unknowns in terms of governance. Investment structure. Are we going to, what vehicles are going to be? Is it going to be an IRA? Is it going to be some 401k-like vehicle? How does ERISA apply? How do the local ERISA-like standards apply? So there's a lot of broad brushstrokes that need to be fine-tuned, and maybe we'll get that this year. But I can tell you that we think it's certainly a trend, and there's a role for both. We talked about this with Ed Murphy. There's a role for government and the private sector to work together. So. Again, hopeful, and I think this raises into the national conscience. So hopefully it'll elevate the issue even further.
Well, we appreciate your partnership, and I appreciate the opportunity to ask you some questions today, Jeff.
Brent, thank you, and I'm going to have to wipe the sweat off my brow, but it's been fun. Thank you so much.